so good evening. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Jefferson County Board of Education on Monday, August 24th. And if you would please join us for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I know. All right, Dr. Gibson, I guess we'll be starting off with you this evening with the current reentry plan review.
Yes, ma'am. I always appreciate when you use the word current because that's the most salient point. There was an update placed on the website today, which I hope all of our constituents and staff saw. We sent it out to all of our staff members on Friday at exactly 4:21 p.m. to be clear. We received 2 new documents from the West Virginia Department of Education. One was a document that outlined the reentry metrics tied into the governor's color-coded system. So the green, yellow, orange, and red, it then outlined for each one of the colors what the requirements were going to be for anyone who was in a county that was that color. So I've put those up on the screen share, and you will note that for each one of those, they have written in conjunction with DHHR a series of requirements that supersede the requirements that we were previously given by the Jefferson County Health Department that we've been working off of. So this was a collaboration between the state, West Virginia DHHR, and the West Virginia Department of Education. You'll note in each one of these, they outlined the number of cases per 100,000 people that are necessary for each one of the color codes. They also then give you advisement on the requirements for mask wearing and extracurricular activities. Part of what's very interesting for people is that under green, athletic and extracurricular activities permit immediate household family members only. When it's under yellow, parents and guardians only. Orange, there are no spectators and there are no competitive events. And of course in red, there are no extracurricular activities. So for each one of these, we have required meetings with the local health department to determine any changes in our protocol. The other document that I want to make sure that folks see also up on our website is this protocol for defining COVID outbreaks in schools. So for the DHHR defined what COVID-like symptoms were, and they defined quarantine and close contact and what constitutes core groups. One of the things that we appreciate, although certainly I wish we had received it earlier, but now that we have, is that they sat down and went through for each one of these scenarios. So for example, a single case with one student confirmed in a school, here are exactly what you're required to do. If it's a teacher or a staff member, combined where there's 2 or more people in separate households, 2 or more separate classrooms. We've actually been looking at these to make sure that we have our own internal tracking process to cover these. If 95% of the students or staff have confirmed outbreaks in a 14-day period, then all students and staff at that location are going to, that school would be closed and all of the individuals in that school would go to remote learning. So we've sat down with our school populations and calculated out their 5% thresholds for those so that we'll be aware. They also provided guidance on siblings. We've already begun to get some questions regarding when individuals have to quarantine based on exposure. And this does a good job of defining those across the state for everyone so that there's some clarity. In looking at our on-site and our virtual learning, as you know, our deadline for registering for virtual learning has occurred since our last board meeting. And in the end, our tally was that we had 1,513 elementary students sign up for Jefferson Virtual Academy and 2,109 secondary students for a total of 3,622. Now we are still going through those. We had individuals who registered for virtual and on site and then virtual again. We had individuals who weren't sure that it went through because they did not see the message that popped up on the screen that confirmed, so they registered again. So we're having to go through it and remove and do some cleanup on those, but they are can generally be considered accurate with very few duplicates that we have to remove. Of the elementary students, we have 434 that have indicated that they need a device and 348 who have indicated that they need for us to bring food to them in the community at their homes. At secondary, we have 538 students who require us to provide them with a device and 329 who need us to bring them food in their homes. So already, building by building and here at the central office, we've created a master spreadsheet, grade by grade, school by school, how many students in virtual, how many students on site, how many teachers. Of those teachers, how many have requested to teach virtual versus requested to teach on site, and we are undergoing the massive Jenga puzzle of placing all of those individuals with teachers where they're to be, and we'll continue that process. We have several schools. I was at one school today where we actually have everyone placed except for 3 periods of English that we're working on right now. So I have to give huge kudos to the administrative staff who have been working. We set up the system so that as parents registered, it went directly to the building principals. And so they've been doing those, that scheduling as we've gone along. They didn't wait. So despite the fact that now we're running one school system with 3,600 plus kids in it and another separate system with 5,000 plus kids in it, we're much further along in scheduling than I would have anticipated we would have been at this point. The next 2 guidance things that will be released is last week on the 19th, the West Virginia Department of Education provided a guidance document on attendance and how schools are to treat attendance. We've had concerns because we do not want to encourage someone to come to school sick because of attendance. We've received that guidance. We've internally created documents where the state gave us some flexibility. I will tell you, of course, that we are going to err on the side of children and families and making sure that we're working collaboratively with them while still having requirements for safety in terms of us being able to actually view kids and ensure that they are safe and present. I will also give a shout out to Tanya Dallas Lewis and Jennifer Rowan and Hans Vogel. They went so far as to think about children who may be doing virtual, who have social emotional concerns, either about the condition of their home or about the behavior of the adults in their home, and they are reluctant to be seen on that camera. So we are working on a system that for students blacks out the background and places Jefferson County Schools standard background behind them so that there are not differences in those. Those are the kind of things that people who are thinking about this a lot and taking a lot of time and care start working on. And full credit did not occur to me. That's why you hire people who are smarter than you and you let them go. It was a brilliant idea. The next training from the West Virginia Department of Education will be on special education. We have gotten a lot of questions about special education. We have asked a great deal of questions about special education. August 27th and August 28th are the dates that we will be provided guidance and, in theory, answers to our questions. We expect to release some local guidance following that. We also, last week, were able to create a contract with West Virginia University for testing. We created an alert system for our principals, and again, great staff work, wherein the principals complete a form for a possible COVID contact. That form is then automatically routed to the Jefferson County Health Department and here at the central office, and then it triggers our protocols for quarantine and testing. If it is an employee, we now have inked a deal with WVU in which if an employee is requested to be tested from us, we give them a form. They have 24 hours to go get the test. WVU will provide us with the test results within 24 hours. We've done that because it decreases our sub-cost, downtime for kids, it's less disruptive. So we anticipate that if there are any suspected cases, we should have a less than 48-hour turnaround time for anyone to be out of their position. We are currently also working on the last several classes of our Academy for Training Teachers. In the next 2 weeks, all teachers will undergo at least 3 full days of training on virtual techniques, delivery of virtual education. Everyone has to be prepared to deliver virtually, even if they're an on-site teacher right now. We have both our online policy and our online training with Dr. Holly on culturally responsive teaching, and those will both be viewed electronically and signed off on electronically. A couple of other questions that have come up. We've gotten several questions about related arts, and as often happens, we have really great staff who give us information and give us ideas. Several weeks ago, I think maybe 3 weeks ago, Miss Fluke, actually, one of our choral teachers, sent us an aerosol study and some suggestions on how to configure our classes for chorus and for band. And we looked at that and collaborated with our teachers, and Joyce White was, and again, kudos to her because it would not have occurred to me, went out and researched and found these bell covers, which are basically they're masks for wind instruments. And so all of the wind instruments for our band, we sent the information out to the band directors and we said, do you think this will be useful? do you think this will be helpful? Here's the information that we have about them. They responded, we took all of their orders, those, have been ordered, and our understanding is that they are in transit to be here, and we'll have all of them before school starts. So, another added layer of protection. They actually look pretty cool over the, over the tubas and the trumpets. There's even one for the flute that's like a bag with a little shield. On that same note, we did receive today from the WVSSAC their decision that they would not sanction bands to perform at football games. And that has caused a lot of frustration and consternation. Since it's just been issued, we're going to take a look at that, and as always, my hope is that if you've prepared sufficiently and done your homework and can show what steps you've taken for safety, those are the things that kids love and bring meaning for them, and we'd really like to the extent possible, get them back out there and let them play. Two final things. We've gotten a request from a couple of folks who missed the deadline and would like to change their answer. We have conveyed to parents and been very consistent. We will put you on a wait list. However, given the sheer volume of schedule changes that we've had to make and the staffing, we can't have movement back and forth. Once we have set all of our classes and we verified the staffing for all of those classes, if we have the capacity, we will take someone off the wait list, but there is no guarantee. For right now, you are guaranteed the choice that you made by the deadline. And finally, when you were speaking about folks moving in and housing, we had some grave concerns because, like every other school system in the state, the number of homeschool students has jumped significantly during this time, particularly for kindergarten students. And schools are funded for their school year based on their October 1 count. So we have requested that school systems across the state be held harmless for 1 year, or that they take the child count in second semester when there's possibility that folks have seen how things are going to function in school, and they have more information. They may be willing to bring their children back. Right now, WVDE has said that they will be proposing that to legislators, the hold harmless for 1 year, but we don't have any verification of that yet. So those are all of the things for this week since the last board meeting, and we will certainly continue to keep folks updated as those things change.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I have two questions. How many are going to homeschool that you know of?
The last count that I had, we were almost at 300 additional students. But that was the end of last week. So.
Okay, and we don't get any state funding for homeschool, correct?
We don't get any of we get no child count funding for them,
Okay.
no ma'am.
And then the other question was the Excel files that you sent for secondary and elementary. I don't understand why they have different amounts. So for elementary, 3,622, secondary, 3,607. There's just different, the high schoolers are consistent across these different forms, but they're different for elementary, and I can't figure out why. Is there a reason?
Well, I can sit down with you and go through those spreadsheets and help.
I don't need you to go through them. I just, if you know why the numbers are different, maybe they were just entered different. It's just that the totals are different on these two forms.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
So you don't know?
No, ma'am, I
Okay.
do not.
Okay, I was just.
Thank you
thought
for
maybe-
asking. And
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure it out here,
Well,
so.
And if you ask when I have the information in front of me, or when you receive it, then I can research that.
I know,
and
I
give
don't
an
want you to
answer.
have to, go through all that. I know that's, you're busy.
Okay. Madam Superintendent, do you have any additional comments this evening?
No, ma'am, the only additional comments is I was in 5 of our schools today. Excellent job, could not ask for anything better from the staff. Everyone followed our protocols, all of the temperature scanners were functioning well. They had distance markers on the floors, they had QR codes to scan in for, so that you didn't even have to touch the clean pen, used pen bins that they had up, masks on. And quite frankly, very positive, energetic, thoughtful staff. People who were very much committed to, this is hard, and yes, I'm worried, but they are pretty committed to, we'll do whatever is necessary to make this work for us and make this work for kids. So I just thank you so much to every single person I ran into today who was just very positive, very hardworking, very uplifting, and that's what you want to see. They take it seriously, but they also know that they have a very, very important job and they're doing it. So just absolutely wonderful, wonderful staff.
Well, March 13th was a long time ago, so I'm sure a lot of them were happy to be back. So, all right, approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the regular board meeting held August 10th, 2020?
Osborne, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Ms. Joy. Any discussion? All right. All in favor of approving the minutes from the meeting held August 10th?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, citizens' comments. This evening we have 2 citizens' comments, and I'll just remind you that you have 3 minutes. Give me just a second here. All right, first up is Storm Frame. Ms. Frame, are you with us this evening?
I'm going to scroll through. If she's here, she's not here by name.
Yeah, I don't see her on here.
No, ma'am. I've scrolled through both screens.
Okay, then we'll move on to Jennifer Vigil. Ms. Vigil, are you here this evening?
Yes, I'm here. How are you doing?
Oh, fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us. Whenever you're ready.
Okay, thanks. On July 6, 2020, Governor Jim Justice put in an executive order in regards to face coverings. In that order, it states, number 3, for children ages 2 through 8, it is recommended that parents or guardians use their best judgments as when to assist such children to wear a face covering. On August 24th, the West Virginia Department of Education updated their face covering requirements per the per person instruction metric. Nowhere in that metric does it state ages 2 through 8 are to even wear a face covering. On August 18th, Jefferson County made changes to the reentry plan that requires children ages 2 through 8, grades pre-K through 2nd, to wear face coverings in non-core group areas. This change came hours before the day of the deadline to determine if you wanted to sign up your child for virtual or in-person instruction. Along with the changes, there was absolutely no communication to the community or parents about the changes. With this, the reentry plan was not updated on every site within the county website. On August 19th at 10:50, when I went in to sign my oldest son up for virtual, the reentry plan from July 28th was the plan provided on the Jefferson Academy link. What I'd like to address is why changes are being made and not notifying parents or guardians. Along with this, I am currently a student obtaining my master's in elementary education. I have 3 children, all which are all on IEPs and receive special education services. I have the passion to work with children and to teach them. I also have the passion to be my children's voice. As a parent, it is my job to protect and speak for my children. Recently, on August 16th and 18th, I reached out to our board and higher up administration in regards to the changes. The only response I received was a copy and paste email that included the new updated changes that I received on August 18th. I struggle with this because I had tried to reach out sooner to get answers and never did, and still haven't. With children that receive services, I decided to send a more firm and compassionate email. Instead of getting answers, I received another email that now jeopardizes me to a future with Jefferson County School. I dream to be an educator. I'm here to be a voice for parents, for students that struggle with face coverings that there has been no testing on long-term effects on children. I am that voice. I sat with my children and showed them what their classrooms will look like and when they will be able to be with their friends. My 7-year-old son said, "Mommy, when will we be let out of our room?" My 6-year-old daughter said, "I'm going to feel lonely." And my 10-year-old son said he was scared to wear a face covering because he struggled to breathe due to his asthma and medication. As a parent, my heart fell. My children feel like they are alone. They are in a single-cell prison. The social and emotional impact is far greater than we as parents, educators, a county realizes. We are here to educate the children. Here I am, being their voice. I ask as parents that we are doing to help these children. What are we doing to support the parents that have the right not to send their children to school in a face covering? What guidance is the county given to ensure that children are not being forced to go against their parents? What professional development has been given to teachers, staff members? If the county can't even provide the proper training for new employees or future employees, how can I trust the county? I am a voice for many. If no one speaks up with issues and concerns, they are not known. I'm a voice speaking for many. I ask as a parent that you listen and take to heart all parent concerns. Be a voice that can be heard without fearing unnecessary consequences or jeopardizing the future. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next is the consent agenda. Dr. Gibson, are there any changes to the consent agenda?
Yes, ma'am, there are. You will note that there are two, I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull that up while I admit people in from the waiting room. So, poor ducks, I'm so sorry, thank you for being patient with me while I'm trying to navigate both of these. You will note, number one down on 116 in the Human Resources Consent Agenda, there is a deletion. An individual who had submitted their resignation is now requesting a leave of absence that will be reviewed in executive session. And under the superintendent's recommendations, you will see that there is a deletion of number 8. And I believe there was 46. And one more, there was
46 and 98.
and 98. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right. So is there a motion for the consent agenda amended to strike number 46, number 98, number 116, and on the superintendent's approval, number 8? Is there a motion to approve?
Osborne, so moved.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Joy.
Thank you, Ms. Joy. Any questions or discussion on the consent agenda? All in favor of the amended consent agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, unfinished business. Action on approval of the bid for technology storage array maintenance.
Good evening. I'm here this evening to ask the board to approve our RFP for the storage array network maintenance. We had 2 bids, and tonight we are recommending that we go with Advantage for this service. Advantage is someone we have worked with in the past. They have a long history with Jefferson County Schools, And so this evening, that will be our recommendation for this service.
Is there a motion to approve the bid for technology storage array maintenance?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Cable. Is there a second?
Second, Osborne.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Any question or discussion?
The only question I have, Joyce, is, you said that's for storage for technology. If they have a service call, do we pay them for travel time as well? Do you know? Or what exactly would that be for?
No, this is all inclusive from what I understand. Yeah, this is all inclusive. Most of it will probably be done remote.
Okay, I mean, I know that's a company that's mostly based, now I think, am I right, Charleston, or it's not local anymore, I don't think.
I don't think so,
They-
Parkview. I'm not sure exactly where they are located.
They've
Okay.
got local people as well.
As long as we don't have to pay by hour to have them come up.
We have used them in the past. I'm not sure if they do have local, people or not, but this is definitely a, one that we feel very comfortable going with and that we've seen a track record of success with them. A few weeks ago, when we started the RFP, the reason why we wanted to put this out was to make sure that when things do go down, because this is an older unit, which is, when things do go down, that we do have an opportunity to fix it quickly, and they have proven to us that they have done that.
All right. And I'm 99% sure that they do have local people. It's either Shepherdstown or, is it Williamsport? But it is local. So,
Thank you, Ms. Stan.
all right. All in favor of awarding the technology storage array maintenance bid to Advantage?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, new business. Request an RFP to solicit bids for the development of Wildwood Middle School athletic fields.
I thought that perhaps the board would, want an explanation of why we are bringing a bid for Wildwood Middle Schools to you as new business when more than 6 weeks ago, you approved a bid for, the Wildwood Middle School field development. And I wanted to give a bit of history to explain how we reached this point. As you know, on June 23rd, earlier this summer, we advertised for bids. We placed an RFP that had all of the criteria for the job that we were requesting that was put out per the state guidelines. On June 29th, we took the extra step of requiring a pre-bid conference. Anyone who wanted to come and bid on the job, we required them to come and meet with us face to face so that we could explain things, answer any questions that they had, because it was a complex project. At that time, we conveyed all of the parameters and the contents of the RFP. On July the 2nd, we received bids from everyone, and at the time all the bids were received, anyone who had submitted one had 2 business days to complete any of their final paperwork, meaning sign all of the requisite attestations and things. On July the 6th, we received all of the final paperwork requirements from all of the bidders. And that evening, Jefferson Board of Education reviewed all of the bids and approved Jefferson Asphalt as the winning bid. So on July 7th, the following day, Randy Jones called Jefferson Asphalt to notify them that the Board of Education had approved their bid. At this time, Jefferson Asphalt noted that they would not sign the contract because they had excluded the bleachers and goalposts from, the contract. And, we sent them a request to state this inclusion in writing, because both the RFP documents and the pre-bid meeting had noted clearly, here are all of the requirements to bid on this. You as an individual don't pick and choose parts of it that you want to respond to. Again, on July the 8th, Mr. Jones asked Jefferson Asphalt to request any exclusions to us in writing so that we can ensure we have clear understanding. On July the 14th, we do receive a notice from Jefferson Asphalt that they were excluding the bleachers and the goalposts from their contract offer. So on July the 28th, Mr. Jones reached out to Jefferson Asphalt to see if they were willing to honor their bid, so that the contract could be executed. And, on July 30th, we received a response that they would not do so and requested that we rebid the project. So at this point, we are coming back to the board, because the low bidder did not, agree to provide the services that were in the RFP.
Madam President, can I make a motion that we, table the going out for bid again until we receive some better clarification on what our other options are?
Okay. So there's a first for a motion to table going back out with an RFP. Is that correct, Ms. Ogden?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Second, Osborne.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. All in favor of tabling the RFP to solicit bids for the development of Wildwood Middle School athletic fields?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. All right, moving on. Discussion and consideration of administration and personnel policies to be placed on public review.
Good evening. Tonight we have for you our policies that we would like to place on public comment. These policies are the administrative policies of the school district. They replace those mirrored policies in the current handbook with the ones that were provided to us from Neola. In addition to exchanging those out and adding new ones, there are also policies in this section that are cross-referenced to policies that we had already approved in the personnel section. As we mentioned in the last presentation, section by section, make sure that we have the most updated and appropriate policies for the school district. And that's what Neola does, and you'll see the benefit of that. So that way you're not having to dig for certain policies, those that are unique across the different sections with the administrative function, the personnel function, operations, finance, etc. You'll see that there will start to be a thread connecting these policies throughout this section. So the first part of the policies are the new ones, and then the second part of it of the document is the policies that we've already reviewed, already went out to public comment and already adopted. We're just looking at them for section 1000. So section 1000 of Neola will be the administrative policies. And these are surrounding the county organization, the establishment of our district goals, the conflict of interest, the hiring and evaluation of the superintendent, and the evaluation of the board and the role and the goals of the superintendent and development of administrative guidelines to the effective functioning of the school district, as well as the non-reemployment of the superintendent, the employment of the treasurer, the brief and job descriptions, the whistleblower protection, and then it goes into the non-discrimination policies. That's section 1000. The other comments, or sorry, policies that we would like to put out for public comment are updates to the policies that you just recently approved and that went out for public comment. And that also is the benefit of Neola and them serving as our policy vendor, is that they keep us apprised and updated when anything has changed in recent legislative sessions or any other laws that our policies are linked to. And so you'll see policy 3217, which is the weapons policy, and 4217. And the reason why there's two of these is that section 3000 pertains to professional employees and section 4000 pertains to service employees. And the change in the weapons was was including pepper spray as a new deadly weapon when used inappropriately. The other correction, or this wasn't an update, but an actual correction, was policy 4165 in the service section with the use of EpiPens. During the review process, there was a section that was erroneously left in, and we need to exclude that from the official policy. And these are the policies that we have to present this evening that are seeking to go out on public comment.
Thank you, Ms. Loring. Is there a motion to put the listed personnel policies out on public review?
May I ask a question first?
Certainly. Go ahead, Mr. Cable.
I just wondered, Neola has been around for a long time, and I had some interworking with them when I was president of the state organization. But at that time, they were extremely expensive, and they were there were a lot of people that really didn't like what they got after they signed up with them. So I'm just wondering, I wasn't aware that we were looking at them or signing up with them or whatever. So just like a little lightning on that to find out just where we stand.
I believe I can speak to that, Mr. Cable.
Okay.
Last year, we contracted with Neola to place policy in our board docs format. One of the things that we have committed to for people is to have a policy that is searchable. Right now, we have a 300+ page PDF policy document. Every time there is a change, we have to go, convert it back into Word, make the change, convert it back into a PDF, make sure that we have the right version of it. It is very time and labor intensive, and with the rapidness with which the legislature changes school law, we felt that we needed some support in getting all of our policies and procedures up to current, and then looking at internally having our update process. We simply didn't have the manpower. Several of our policies were a decade or more old, and we did not have the manpower to rewrite the entire policy manual internally with our own staff. So right now we are going policy by policy and having those all updated to current West Virginia Department of Education and West Virginia Code standards. And then we have a spreadsheet for us going back and reviewing them on a regular cycle. But we, right now, and over the past year have needed some support to put a policy manual in place that's completely updated as of this year. We had hoped to be completed by the end of this school year. I am still hopeful that we will stay on track for that, but given current circumstances, I cannot guarantee that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome.
All right, so is there a motion to put out for consideration of the administration and personnel policies out on public review that are listed?
So moved, Ogden.
Thank you, Ms. Ogden. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Cable. Any further discussion or question? All right, all in favor of putting out the administration and personnel policies on public review?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain. I haven't read these, so I just feel, I looked earlier, I couldn't open it, or it wasn't listed, so I would need to really look at these myself.
Well, we're just voting to put them out on public review. We're not
Okay.
voting on them.
And then, do we have time to review them ourselves?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
There'll be a
okay.
2-week period that they're out on public review at least,
Mhm.
and then you can review them at that time.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you, that's fine then.
So you're voting in favor of putting it
Yeah.
on public review? Okay. Opposed? All right, thank you. All right, possible executive session. I understand we have personnel and legal this evening,
Yes, ma'am.
and there'll be action at the end, is that correct?
I anticipate so, yes, ma'am.
All right. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So move, Osborne.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Is there a second?
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Joy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.